new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire, the no-show. Who set you back because they didn't show up on day one, or day two, or ever again. And now your product launch is delayed because you're talking to alien abduction podcasters to track them down. But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can help make sure your next hire sticks. In fact, businesses who use LinkedIn are 24% less likely to reopen a role in the next 12 months. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
And we're back with me, Johnny McMurray, on the On the Spot Football Podcast for yet another fantastic guest. Tonight's guest has managed and played at the highest level, and he is waving the flag in support for men with dementia. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Alan Fraser. Alan, thank you very much for joining me, sir.
Thanks for the invite, Johnny.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it myself.
Whatever that may be.
Look, it's two men here with two fantastic moustaches, but yours is colour coordinating with the hair there. It looks fantastic, I must say. But listen, no, thank you very much for coming on. It's been a pleasure. I've been extremely interested to get you in because I like hearing the old stories. Very much so. I think it's a lot different. The leagues are obviously a lot different now. Everything's publicised drastically, and obviously when you were playing there was probably a lot of fans in the stands, and you were getting a lot of good crowds and European draws and stuff like that, so there's a lot to dive into. So how did it all begin for you?
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
Well, it started for me I was born there in Hillsborough Village, and got in the local scout team when I was 12, 13-year-old, and who went on to become Hillsborough Boys, actually. That's how Hillsborough Boys were formed.
When you say scouts, you mean?
Boy Scouts.
Okay.
I started a little summer league team, and the guy who started them up, a guy called Joe Clark, just got the gather-ups and put us all together, and he started a summer league.
Nice.
So that's where it all started. And then at 14, I was invited down to Linfield for a few training sessions and signed as a 14-year-old. And went on to become schoolboy international that year, and played in the Linfield Rangers team, which were the youth set up at Linfield. Linfield had first team Swifts and Linfield Rangers, who were under 18s. So I got into the team when I was 15. And it started like that. And as I played in the schoolboy team, I had a chance to go across to Derby County. Newcastle United wanted me to go at 15, but my dad was very strict in those days to say, no, big wide world out there, just stay where you are and work your way through. So I decided not to go. Maybe a few regrets that I didn't go. But and then I became youth international and captained the Irish youth team to the first ever British Championship a year later, and broke into the Linfield first team at 16. Made my debut in 20th September 1969 as a 16-year-old against Crusaders. And the next year became a regular under Billy Bingham. Billy Bingham came in to manage Linfield that next year, and his track record was second to none as a manager. So he kept me in the team, and the European Cup winners draw come out at July actually, and we were fortunate enough to draw the holders, Manchester City.
Okay.
Who at that time were probably the best team in English football. You had Mike Summerby, Francis Lee, Colin Bell, who is a Man City folk hero, really. And we really, the first game was in Main Road, and still have memories about it. It was so special. As a 17-year-old going to Main Road to play in a European Cup winners game.
Do you know what stands out for me here, Alan? This was 5p.
5p.
Imagine this now, inflation.
Well, you come to the best bit yet, Johnny. But anyway, we went to Main Road and played the game and come away 1-0 defeat, which was, for us, amazing. We were part-time players then. And Billy Bingham had us training 4 nights a week and a build up to this game, and he was a great motivator. And he just kept saying, we're going to get a result against this Man City team. So they came to Windsor, and it was the height of the Troubles, Johnny, which was difficult. And the game was brought forward to 5:30 kickoff. But Windsor Park that night was absolutely packed. I would say there's 50,000 at the game. And we ended up beating Man City 2-1. But in those days you had away goals counting, so because they scored the away goal at Windsor, the final result 2-2, they went through in away goals. So, but it was a great feat for us, and as I say, we're all part-time set up there.
Yeah.
And our bonus that night was £15 something for...
How rich did you feel after getting that
Man
bonus?
City. Well, would you believe I lived in Hillsborough, as I said, at that time, and I remember walking up Windsor Avenue later on getting the bus home. So that was my night out after playing against Man City. But I thoroughly enjoyed the games, the atmosphere, the players you played with. Was some great players. Not that you would remember them, but in those times, you had great players. Some of the 7 trophy players in Time Linfield won 7 trophies.
Okay.
You had Isaac Andrews who played in that team, and other ones. But and then, of course, Billy Bingham that year won his 4 trophies, and he departed and went further fields to Greece. And as you know, he managed the 82 World Cup team and 86 World Cup team. But then later on, Linfield went through managers. Jimmy Hill come in, Billy Sinclair come in, and then Billy Campbell come in. And we've won a few trophies. Won the league under Billy Campbell and Irish Cup. And then, of course, Roy Coyle came in the 75-76 season. And Roy struggled. He was on a 2-year contract. Roy struggled to get results, and his job was basically on the line. And we played in a Irish Cup final against B Division Carrick Rangers. You may have heard of that game.
Yeah.
And Carrick were coming as no-hopers, but turned out they turned us over 2-1 and won the Irish Cup. And further that, Roy couldn't get a result, but we played Distillery in a final of a County Antrim Shield, and we're 3-0 down at half-time, and as I say, Roy's job was looked to be out the door, but we come back and won 5-4, and that kept Roy in the job. But
Plenty of goals for a cup final, eh?
Well, it's a County Antrim Shield final, actually, but it kept Roy in the job, and Roy, I mean, his results and success speak for itself.
Yes, absolutely.
How good a manager he was, but he was ruthless. He knew what he needed from you, and he always said, when you meet Roy, he always said to Roy, what was your secret behind your success? And he just said, good players.
Yeah.
And he's
It
right.
helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't overcomplicate things, doesn't ask too much of you, just go and play your game.
Go and play your game, and if you don't do it 2 weeks, if he games, he'd call you and say, what's wrong with you, have you a problem? And if you don't do it this week, you're out. And he had always somebody replace you and could do as good a job. So enjoyable under Coiler. In those days, it was a social time, Johnny. You just didn't go home and go and sit in the house on a Saturday night.
Stick the feet up.
We
ice baths.
We had a big squad and a great squad.
Yeah.
We all stuck together. Everywhere we went, Saturday night, clubbing or whatever we done. But it was great camaraderie and great team spirit. And that's what...
It makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does.
That's what won us a lot of trophies. There's games you're going into, maybe struggling a goal down, and we'd all come in at half-time and get motivated and pump ourselves up and come out and dig a result out. And Coyle had a great record.
Yeah.
And as I say, he always believed in us, and at times maybe we didn't believe what he said was right at half-time, but we sorted out ourselves on the field. And we had a great captain, Peter Rafferty, who was our leader. And great memories of that year, of the late 70s, right through the early 80s. And then I departed Linfield at 1981-82 at 28. We'd been on a end of season tournament we're invited to in Italy, in Naples.
Right.
And in this tournament was Avellino, Napoli and Flamengo from Brazil.
Okay.
So we flew down in May, and
how does this come around? How does Linfield get invited to?
well, it appears we worked through an agent called Noah Lemon,
Okay.
and Noah was able to pick up games for Linfield. I think later on, Linfield played the full Argentina team at Windsor Park, and Noah was able to bring them over. So I think someone had dropped out, but Linfield got the call, could they go at the end of the season, and of course we were called in and asked how many could make it. And after a tough season, going to Naples, and then we had a week in the tournament, and then a week down the Amalfi Coast.
Okay.
So we were actually 2 weeks. And we arrived, and of course checked in the hotel, and who arrived in but the Flamengo team, who stayed in the same hotel as us. Zico Junior, 6 or 7 Brazilian internationals,
Yeah.
So it was great to meet them, and couldn't speak a word of English, but Zico had 2 bodyguards with him, and
Makes sense.
he
He's the most valuable person at the time, isn't he?
they weren't allowed out the door. You know, they could only go to training, go to the game. But after our first game, of course, end of the season, and we come back from the first game, and Coiler said, guys, right, you're going to have a beer and be in for 10:30. So remember Naples, a lovely big castle up in the corner, and a few of us headed up to this castle, and nice surroundings, and sun's starting to set, and the beer's coming, and somebody said, guys, we have to be back for 10:30, and someone tripped up. We're on our holidays. Coiler can do what he wants. So
It was never going to work.
I think there were 6 of us decided, well, what can he do if 6 of us don't go back?
Okay, fair.
So the usual ones hung about and had a few more pints and good crack, and drifted back to the hotel, and Coiler was sitting in the chair with Kenny McKeag, the trainer. Just looked at the watch, and anyway, he gave us a bye ball, and he sort of knew we'd had a hard season, so it wasn't too bad.
To put a limit on that time anyway, at that stage, you're sitting going, that's not going to work.
End of season, especially.
It's never going to work.
But anyway, we played the games, and tough games, Flamengo and Avellino, and I think Napoli beat us 2-0. Flamengo lost count after about 6. Great experience, Johnny, and to be in the same hotel.
It's all about the
those
memories.
guys. Memories is exactly right.
Absolutely, and you've memories that most people would never get the opportunity to have. Like, I mean, Zico, as I touched on there, is probably one of the most valuable players on the planet.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean?
That's
so
right.
for him just to be in your hotel and being able to see that, play against that, incredible.
Yeah, I've got a shirt in the house, but I don't know whose it is. Somebody swapped shirts, and I just keep saying that must have been Junior's, but I don't think it was. Anyway, great experience, as you say, and great part to be with all those good guys you played with, and great memories, as you say. But then coming home, we come home, and I was in the house, and of course with no mobiles in those days, but the phone rang, and my wife says it's Roy Coyle on the phone, and he was in a call box. So he was talking, and the pips started to go. You had a pips, beep, 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 and he more or less told me I was on the list. I couldn't go.
Did you expect that at the time?
I didn't really.
Okay.
But, I was there 14 years, and sometimes I was 28 then, and I thought, well, was I the one to blame, But there's other ones there, George Dunlop, who were probably a bigger culprit than I was, but Geordie's Geordie, world-class goalkeeper. Peter Rafferty, you're not getting rid of him.
No, okay.
Anyway, that was the news I got, and it was tough to take.
Well, 14 years is a long time. Dedicating yourself to a club, something you probably loved extraordinarily, do you know what I mean? And it's always going to be hard to get that news, considering you don't want to leave.
I think it was the way I was told, Johnny, from a call box.
Okay.
Coiler knew that.
Face-to-face conversation it'd be devastating, but it'd be a lot better.
Yeah, and he knew I was hurt. And I went back for pre-season training, and most of the guys said, look, don't be going anywhere. Hang in there. So anyway, we played Notts Forest in a friendly at Windsor, and he had me on the bench, and the assistant manager, Billy Rogers, come down to Roy, says to get warmed up. It was a Wednesday night, And I says, how long's to go? He says, there's 8 minutes. And I says, Billy, tell Carter I'm going, I'm away in. So I just lifted my top and walked in.
Okay.
You know, to me that was, I wasn't trying to be big-headed, but I just felt if he's doing that to me at this stage of my career, you know,
What's
I
the
don't
real?
need it.
Yes,
Is he going
100%.
to mess me about? And anyway, I moved on to Glenavon. Glenavon came in and paid 8,000 for me, and I went there for another year. And first game back at Linfield, we were 4-1 down at half time. And guys coming over to me, putting their arm around me, sorry about your troubles, you know. And my nickname was Joe.
Yeah.
Didn't call me Alan, it was Joe.
Okay.
After Joe Fraser, the boxer.
Okay.
We all had our wee nicknames, you know, we had different nicknames. But anyway, we turned the game around, beat them 6-4.
Nice.
So my comeback against Linfield was 6-4. So I went over and shook Carter's hand. Got my own back in a sense.
Yeah,
and gave me a bit of pleasure. Now, it didn't fall out. Roy and I didn't fall
Yeah,
out. I always had respect for him and still do. He's not too well at the moment, but still a lot of time for him of what
Especially when you come out of football,
yeah.
you kind of realise that what happens during that period doesn't really resemble what people are like outside of the game.
I'm the type, I don't hold grudges against people. Maybe some people do, but I just feel, you know, life's too short to start holding grudges against your previous manager who didn't treat you the way you felt he should have. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I moved from Glenavon down to Carrick. Jim Brown signed me for Carrick. I was 33 then. Jimmy had a really experienced team, you know, he had good, solid, experienced players. And we got to the cup final that year, and Ballymena beat us in the final.
Okay.
And we lost our goalkeeper early on. In those days, you had no sub goalkeepers. So Jeff Blair went in the goals, but anyway,
This would have been the stage where you probably only had like 12 or 13 on.
That's
like
right.
There's only 2 subs maybe,
That's
or
right,
1
yeah,
sub or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's
no
mental,
goalkeeper,
isn't it?
No goalkeeper.
No.
I mean, when I first played my game at Linfield, you only 1 sub.
Aye.
That's
Which is
all.
crazy.
And nobody warmed up.
You just, it was just done, shake the legs out and ready to
Do you know,
rock.
I seen sitting with players sitting having a smoke. And I'm saying, what's this all about? Yes, true story. And someone coming at half time going in for a smoke.
But that was normal back then, wasn't
For
it?
quality
The cultures
players.
were a lot different. And
Cultures were so different.
Yeah.
So different.
Because you always see the old videos, and I'm trying to say this, but they used to have the old baths.
That's right.
After the games, the old baths would have been there. Everybody would have jumped into the bath, and you've seen people smoking and all.
That's right.
Brilliant. Aye.
But Lauren, talk about baths, Lauren was horrible. Lauren's baths were horrible. Carbolic soap, if you've ever heard of carbolic soap. And if you weren't in there quick enough, the bath was black, dirty, filthy. And there's no showers or anything, you just had to
Get out and go.
get out and go and get in there and get out and get home.
Most people said that about Lauren until about 10 years ago.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a fantastic wee place now.
Used to be horrible on a wet, windy day, driving down into Lauren, looking and saying, oh, my goodness.
Well, I remember I signed for Lauren on loan under Davy McAlinton, and the first time that I drove down, it was on my hour plates, and it took me an hour and a half. And it was just before they got this new road in,
Yeah.
and then obviously this new road's incredible now. But
Yeah.
I remember leaving, setting off after working, just as a kid in your own, like, you're sitting going like, fucking hour and a half drive, and you're going to Lauren, like, it's 20 miles, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it was crazy, the amount of traffic, one-way road near enough.
Going back to the Linfield thing as well, John, I lived in Hillsborough. Started serving my time in Belfast as an electrician
Okay.
on a factory up Ravenhill Road. And I used to get up every morning, 6:10 with my father, get a bus from Hillsborough down to Belfast, a bus up to Ravenhill Road, and then 2 nights a week training. And I had to get back into town, up to Windsor, do my training, get the last bus home, and up again the next morning, 6:10. And you know, he thought nothing of it.
Yeah.
I still done
It
it.
was normal.
A normal thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed it. Sometimes it was tough,
Yeah.
but you know, those were things you done in those days.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think that people's motivation levels now, if that's what they would have had to do to become a footballer now, do you think they would do it?
I'm not so sure. I know a good lot mightn't. Some certainly will.
Mm-hmm.
But it was difficult.
Mm-hmm. It was a long old day.
I could have said, I don't need this. but I just got through it. And
you do it for the love of the game at that stage, don't you? Because I mean, the money's probably not drastic.
Yeah, and even that Man City game, you know, a lot of the boys were going into town to have a drink, but I was only 17 then, and I didn't drink, so I didn't want to go into town.
Yeah.
My mates were at the game and they went on home. My father didn't have a car, and the only way home for me was a bus. So I had to stand at the bus stop and get a bus after playing in front of 40,000 people. But it's a fact.
Yeah.
And it didn't bother me.
Well, this is one of the biggest things that I love talking to people, especially from that sort of calibre of era that you came from, is the amount of people that would have turned out for games, the fans, the crowds that used to turn up for the likes of your Linfield games. It was just so much more.
Oh, yeah.
And it's obviously diminished over the last 15, 20 years, but what was that like, especially being in the height of the Troubles at that stage? You're obviously going around, you're at Linfield, which is one of the biggest clubs in the country.
Yeah.
Scrutiny's on you, do you know what I mean? And you're demanded to win, but at that time, was it difficult?
It was difficult getting through games at times. I mean, it was the bomb scourge, and especially midweek games. But do you know what? The one thing that kept through the Troubles, kept going, was the football.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't stop. International games, actually, some of them moved to England. Nobody would come here to play. But the local game kept going through it all, Johnny.
They just didn't care about you that much, did they?
Religion didn't come into it. I mean, we played against guys from the Clifton Bulls and wherever they were from. Didn't matter.
Yeah.
We were still good friends, and we played a game of football, and it kept us going.
It was more so the people on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nights, one night we were training at Windsor Meet, we were shot at from over West Belfast, out training on the pitch.
What do you mean? Like,
Shots come over and we had to run in. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it was the Scourge, or I don't know, but...
Were you playing Cliftonville that weekend?
No. I'm
what
not
I'm saying,
saying I'm not saying anything to do with Cliftonville.
No, I'm just saying in general. It's same as like the World Cup. You know, what I mean? People setting people outside the front of the hotel that caused disruption. Maybe they're thinking Glenville could have got 3 points at the weekend.
I never thought about it, but I don't know who we were playing, but it scared us slightly, you know.
I'm sure it did.
Crack, and everybody run.
Everybody's on the floor.
One of the guys ran behind a goalpost and stood head behind a goalpost.
How big was he?
No, it wasn't that big. But it's funny now. But it was something that happened.
Yeah.
Football kept going. I mean, my first year to win a league, there's 24,000 at the Oval to play Glentoran, and we won the league that day.
Yeah.
You know.
What was your first experience like of a derby game, the big two? Because did you expect it? Because from your rise, which I do want to speak to you about, you end up transitioning into first team football very, very quickly. Yeah. You're 17, you're in there. It doesn't really happen to many people, but obviously you've got the ability to sustain yourself. Do you know what I mean? You're going to play, so why not let you do that? But at the same time, it's very early to go into men's football. And as you say, the crowds are up, it's electric. Yeah. There's a lot of demands on you.
Yeah, well, when I was 15, the Linfield Rangers played in an amateur league. They played in an amateur league against grown men.
Okay.
So as a 14, 15-year-old, I was playing against men in their late 20s, early 30s, you know, and maybe that was good for me. I don't know. And I captained the Irish youth team a year young and was made captain. And it was a great experience. And then at 17, I was selected for an All-Ireland team down in Dublin.
Okay.
Why I was picked, I don't know, but Martin O'Neill was in the team, and a few Coleraine players. So great experience. And again, Billy Bingham came in, and I'd only played about 4 or 5 senior games, and he came in that next season, and he stuck by me. He kept me in the team. I mean, playing Man City, he could have went and signed a experienced fullback, but the previous fullback, Ken Gilliland, he retired.
Well, he obviously seen something in you that he knew that you could handle the proceedings of what was going to come at you.
Yeah.
And one of the things I want to speak to you about as well is that relationship that you probably ended up having with Billy. Was it a different relationship as a manager, you being so young and him sort of pushing you and guiding you? Was it different than anybody else?
Not particularly, Johnny, but I remember the Man City game over there. The first time on an airplane, flew over to Manchester, and the day of the game, the morning of the game, it came in the newspaper, and he says, Alan, I want you to read that. He's awfully well spoken, Billy. You know, like you to read that. I didn't know what he was giving me. It's a local Manchester News, and Neil Young, who was a current English international, was outside left. Of course, I was right back, and I started reading this thing about Neil Young playing against part-time players. He'd be a failure if he couldn't score a hat trick.
Right.
All this, he was there. Mm-hmm. He was giving that to motivate me, you know. And as I say, here that
psychological there, isn't it?
Psychological, and I'm saying, well, did it motivate me? Must have done something. Mm-hmm. But Bingy was that type to be a great motivator. And after the game that night, all the guys are heading into Manchester, and there's a guy had claimed to play at Linfield, Dennis Fallett.
Okay.
He was an ex-Busby Babe, and
Okay.
he came and played at Linfield for a year, and he'd been in the Munich air crash and as well. But he signed up for Linfield, and I played a few games with him. But that night in Manchester, he lived in Manchester. After the game, he met all the guys and was going out to this nightclub, and I was going up to get changed, 17-year-old, into Manchester nightclub. And Bingy just called me over. Alan, he says, you're staying here. You can't go with those guys. So that was all spoiled.
You should have just tried to get in the circle, shouldn't you? Just sneak out.
Ruined my night. But
I'm sure he did.
But he was like that, you know.
Yeah.
He tried to.
He looked after you anyway.
Anyway, he did, yeah.
But whenever you look at the success of Billy, how much enjoyment did you get out of your time under him as a player?
Do you know what? Fitness-wise, Johnny, he was ahead of his time.
Okay.
He had us training 4 nights a week.
At Linfield?
At Linfield.
So you're doing that journey that you've talked about 4 nights a week?
Yes.
So Monday,
Yes.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Yes.
off Friday.
And we played Glentoran on the Saturday, and he had us in on the Friday night, playing a five-a-side. So that particular week, we're playing Glentoran in a league game, and he brought us in the Friday night as well.
I didn't realise the commitment would have been that massive.
Well, everybody complained, but
I'm sure I would have complained.
we done it.
Yeah.
Which amazed me. I was only, as I say, young then, but there's guys in the team, 26, 27, 8 year old,
kids
who were doing a hard day's work and coming in and doing the training. You know, and
do you think that makes it easier because of success?
well, that year he won 4 trophies, and Derry City beat us in the semi-final of the Irish Cup, and probably shouldn't have. We played well that day, so he could have come in and won 5 trophies in his first year. So he had something.
Yeah.
And motivation was, to me, his biggest plus.
And when you talk about Derry City there, were they part of the league?
Yeah. Derry City were in the league. Now, I didn't play at the Brandywell. When I first came in, the team had moved to Coleraine to play their home games because there had been trouble at the Brandywell in the late 60s when the 68, 69 the troubles broke out. So Linfield couldn't
Travel down there.
travel to Brandywell. So Coleraine became Derry's home ground.
And how long were they in the league for?
Well, they've been in the league for years, but they drifted out of the league about the early 70s.
Okay.
They played the Martin O'Neill's Cup final. They suddenly played Derry City that year, 71. I think they drifted out of the league 72, 73.
Was it a shock that they did that?
Well, it was, but I think what frustrated them was they weren't getting back into Brandywell to play because there was so much tension in the streets, and Linfield certainly couldn't go there. Maybe other clubs could.
Yeah.
But I know Ballymena had a bus burned out there, a team bus at some stage.
Right.
69, 70.
Yeah.
But
When you look at people's health and safety, don't you? You kind of have to.
Do you know, there's part of me would love to see Derry City back in the league.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
And would make it a more competitive league as well.
I think so, and I think they would probably be quite a bit further ahead than us at the moment because they've probably been full time for quite a bit longer.
Yeah,
They've obviously all the structures in place that they need to be successful, but they're not doing great at the moment.
But you know what? That league's a tough league.
It is.
Do you know, you have so many good teams and all full time.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're all full time.
Near enough, and I think most of the part-time teams kind of come up in the league, transition to full-time, and then if it works out or it doesn't, then they just decide to go back part-time. Don't they?
Yeah.
But no, it would be very interesting to see clubs at that level playing consistently in our league, or some of our teams playing more consistently against them, just to kind of see where you're at.
But go back to the Linfield and in my early days, we were so lucky. We played against the league winners of the various countries. You know, you had Standard Liège, PSV Eindhoven, played PSV, who had 5 or 6 Dutch internationals in their team at that time. And other big name teams as well. So we were lucky to play against the quality and the cream of Europe.
And that's the thing, you were getting those, it wasn't seeded. You were able to get those big draws when you get into Europe.
Yeah, I think Glenn Torn at that time with Juventus and Benfica.
Insane.
You know,
yeah.
Big games.
And it also does help, though, that the crowds were that big.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it didn't kind of make you look out of place.
You know, and you know, if we had beat Man City that night, I'm not sure who would have drove, but probably would have went out in the next round anyway, you know. But great experiences and great memories, as you say. And then once I finished playing, I got into coaching and come into Linfield. Eric Boyer was appointed Linfield manager in early 90s, 91. And he took over from Roy Coyle. Eric and I were good friends. So I was running Glenavon Reserves at that time. So he approached me with a come as his assistant. So
was it always something that you were interested in?
Well, it just came about that different guys asked me to come and do a bit of coaching and run the reserves, especially. I wasn't ready for first team management, no notion of it. But in those days, you didn't really need the badges, Johnny. Yeah. So I didn't do any badges, didn't do my qualifications. But you didn't really need them.
No. Do you think you need them now?
I'm not so sure. I always felt my strength was man management.
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest contribution factors to people being successful anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you can understand tactics and formations and stuff, but motivating people to go out and run through a wall, I think, might get you a wee bit further.
Yeah. You know, you talk about goalkeepers now. I'm talking to Michael Doherty one day, and he's a
Coleraine
goalkeeping coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I had a bit of put my opinion over. He says, no, goalkeepers now have to be able to take the ball and play it out and pass it. And I says, how do you coach that, Michael? He says, you know, sometimes goalkeepers are goalkeepers because they can't play out.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah.
They're not comfortable with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing worse than a goalkeeper gets it and he flumbles and doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
But that's part of the coaching world now. You have to be a...
But then again, that's also people's ideology on how they want to play the game. I mean, if you just want your goalkeeper just to get rid of it and you're happy enough to put 2 big lads up front and go long and get runners off you, you don't need to worry about that keeper playing out from the back.
Well, I'm a great believer you don't score goals in your own 18, you score them in other opposition's 18.
Yeah. But one thing that gets me, and I find it difficult, is that, and I know a lot of people are going maybe more hybrid, this 2-3 days a week model and stepping it up that way. So they're getting a wee bit more contact time on the pitch in terms of what they can do and how they can set up. But some part-time teams trying to play out from the back against full-time teams who are fitter, stronger, more well set up and more dynamic. I think it's stupid at times.
No,
and what's wrong with putting 2 big lads up top and sending the ball long?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's what you would have been doing back in the day.
Exactly. You know, there's only one way played, and that was forward. My strength was overlapping. You know, I was one of the first probably overlapping fullbacks. Got down the line, whip crosses in, and nowadays fullbacks can't defend. Defenders can't even defend. I feel some of them are. You see it yourself, you know.
Yeah.
Giving stupid free kicks away, and they don't need to. And in our day, you're told to stand off a player. If he's back to your goal, he's going nowhere. He's not going to score if he's back to your goal. So you're showing him away as a defender, and your job's done.
Your job's done, yeah.
Yeah. But
times change quickly, don't they? People want to play the same way as Pep Guardiola, and kind of takes away from football at times.
Well, that's what somebody said. That's who brought it in.
Yeah.
And he could do it. He had the players to do it.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have the players, I don't see
how you
can do it.
Yeah. Why you should try. Now, in terms of you transitioning from being a player into management, was it difficult for you to actually hang them up before you did? And did you know that going in there wanting to become a manager was something that you wanted to do? But did you understand from previous management, so the likes of Roy Coyle and Billy Bingham, that was the type of manager that you wanted to be?
Well, I had the late 70s, had trouble with my knee. I was out for nearly a year and a half with a knee problem, 2 operations on it. So I was having to play most weeks with strapping on it to keep it going. But so when I got to 33, I just felt I was getting tough after games. Couldn't train the Tuesday night because my knee would have swollen up, and that made my mind up. Plus, I'm not disrespecting the players at Carrick, but I wasn't playing the same quality of player.
Yeah.
And I felt my game was suffering. And I don't mean to be big-headed and say
no, but that
I was
happens.
better than they.
No, it's...
But I've seen things happen in the game, playing a pass, and the guy didn't read it, and I was made a fool of. So I remember coming home one night and said, I've had enough. And I just stepped aside and said, that's me. And Jimmy Brown brought me to Ballymena as reserve team manager. Done that for a while, and then I stepped up with him, helping him in the first team.
So just to make the connection that Alan thinks that you remember Alan from his days at Ballymena. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah. Sure, have to tell him that, am I?
Yeah.
Seen the photograph. Do you remember me?
He has the photograph in there.
I do remember him, but...
You should have said to you, point out which one's me.
Well...
And then you could have just...
He did correctly say that's me there, but anyway... So Jimmy got the sack at Ballymena, and of course I went with him, and that's gone back in the... When was that? Late 80s?
Yeah.
Late 80s. And then, as I say, Eric got the job at Linfield, offered me the assistant manager, which I took on, and Eric took over the difficult time, Johnny, because the team had gone, Coyler's team had broken up, George Dunlop retired, and he moved on, and different key players their time was up.
So it was more of like a rebuild stage?
Rebuild.
Okay. Was it nice for you to be back at the club, though?
It was nice to be honoured to be
thought of.
Eric to pick me as his assistant.
But,
but I knew it was going to be difficult, and Eric hadn't the budget to go and sign good players, and he was having the same players who, to me, weren't good enough to bring Linfield back where they needed to be.
Can I ask you a question? And I don't know if this is probably overstepping the mark, but what would Linfield's budget have been back then? Like, what would have been like the normal wage that people probably would have got back then? And
well, I started off at £6 a week.
Okay.
1970, 71. But then naturally when I left, it was going up to probably £70, £80 a week.
Okay.
But no matter where I went, I always got more money.
Good negotiator, you see.
So, going back to the playing days at Glenavon, Terry Nicholson was the manager, come in and says, Jimmy Brown wants you to go to Carrick. I says, I'm not going to Carrick. Carrick? I says, I live in Lisburn, I'm going to drive away to Carrick. So, Jimmy Brown contacted me, and I had a meeting with him, and he offered me that good
you couldn't
pay
say
back,
no.
and I says, I can't turn that down. So
You have to go.
Never thought I would get into that for money, but
no, but it helps.
It helps.
It absolutely does.
So, anyway, got with the cup final and see. But in those days, Johnny, we didn't really play for the money.
No,
honestly.
No, I get that. Yeah.
It didn't motivate us. Coleraine were probably a better paid player or team than the Linfield players.
And they would have probably had a bigger budget all around.
We always said Coleraine was the money club.
Okay.
You know,
I've heard this before now. There was an owner down there at the time who was...
I
forget his name.
You had Jack Docherty and guy Freddie McFall, who was a money man and put a lot of money in. That was in the early 80s, you know, and late 70s, early 80s. But money was never my motivator. I mean, I signed professional for Linfield for, I think it was £400 back in 1970. Maybe it was decent money then. I don't know.
Well, if you were working a normal job in comparison, what would your sort of weekly take home be from working a 9 to 5?
In those days,
Aye.
I would have had something similar, £6-7 a week, 40-hour week. So I was getting £7.
But then again, you're pretty much doing another job on top of the amount that
I was getting
thing he had you in. You know
£7 a week. That was the wage structure. Yeah, that was the wage then. £6-7 a week.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about the money in the league, eh?
Oh yeah. But that's the world we're living in now.
It is.
You know.
And that's the way things go.
Who to be playing again? But the game now is it's a different game. I just find it tough to get enjoyment out of watching it.
Okay.
No disrespect. Some good players.
No, definitely not. Your opinion?
I don't watch the systems they're playing. but there's no entertainment.
Yeah. You want to see goals, excitement.
Yeah. People can pass people, crosses, scoring goals.
Yeah.
I mean, when a goalkeeper gets, he plays it to the left back who looks up, possible pass ahead, but he always has to go back and then maybe forward, but it's just the way they're coached.
Yeah.
Even
Not as
kids,
direct now as probably what it would have
even
been.
kids,
Yeah.
I think they're overcoached some of them.
Yeah. Talk to me about you managing. So whenever you actually take over at your first job, you're the man in charge. What sort of players would you have been looking for?
Well, going back to how I got to Glenavon,
Okay, yeah.
I was assistant manager at Linfield.
Mm-hmm.
And just I live across from a school, but the headmaster was on the board at Glenavon. Excuse me. And he came over one day and stuck a note through my letterbox. And my wife told me this guy came over and I read it. Could you ring such and such? He said, what's this about? So I rang the number and it was the chairman at Glenavon.
Okay.
Who offered me the job or approached me, would I be interested? And anyway, I turned him down twice. So I told Eric, look, Glenavon want me to go as manager. And he says, well, what do you want to do? I says, no, I'm happy enough, I'll stay here.
Yeah.
And he said, if you want to go and talk to them, see what they want to offer. So I met them in a house, the chairman, treasurer and another committee man. Had a good discussion and offered me a deal. And I said, no, I'll stay where I am. And they said they had a board meeting the next night and they needed to know. So I didn't contact them, I just told them no, I wasn't taking it, in the sense on the conversation. So they rang me on the Friday morning to say that they needed a decision. I said, they said I wasn't taking it. And is there anything you need? I says, what do you mean? He says, well, if we can help you out anyway financially. So I had a holiday booked in America for my wife and the 2 children.
That was your negotiation.
Well, I just let them know that. So he said, can you give me 10 minutes? No mobiles, you had to stand by your house phone. And wife says, what are you waiting on? I says, I'm waiting on a call from Glenavon. What are you doing? I says, well, look, I don't know yet, but I'll soon know. So he came back and says, look, that holiday, whatever it's costing, something like 3.5, 4 grand or something, you know.
Right.
They come back and says, we'll pay for that.
Great.
So she says to me, do you know what, Alan? How did Linfield treat you as a player?
Mm-hmm. Smart woman, Al.
You know.
Yeah.
And I never thought of that. She says, you know, as a manager or assistant, if they don't want you,
you're gone.
They'll just come and tell you. Same thing. So that really brought it back to me that why shouldn't I take it? Mm-hmm. You know, and I told Eric, and Eric was good about it. He just said, look, Alan, I can't fault you. So anyway, that's how I became the Glenavon manager.
Did you enjoy the holiday, first and foremost?
Great holiday.
Where'd you go?
America, Florida.
Nice, okay.
Good holiday.
Yeah.
Didn't want to come back, but couldn't get a job over there.
Was it a week or 2?
It was 2 weeks. Couldn't get a holiday over there, or a job over there.
Do you know what? I have to say now, the whole negotiation process of going to clubs, I've never asked for a holiday. Well, and I might have to go back.
I just told him
try and get a
that's what
trip to Florida myself.
I had a company car, so I didn't need a car.
Brilliant.
So anyway, went to Glenavon and took over a good squad. Now I must say, you know, had good players there, and McBride, McCoy, Ferguson. You've probably heard of that trio up front. And anyway, I came in and that first year I was there. It so happened I got the cup final. I met Linfield in the cup final. Eric was the manager of Linfield, and we beat them 2-1.
Brilliant.
Won the cup for Glenavon.
See, whenever you go in, is it different being a manager by yourself? I know you've been as an assistant, but actually being at the helm yourself, where everything relies on you and you make the final decision. Did you enjoy that, or was it different?
It's different. Different dealing with quality players and players who knew the game, and you can't make a fool of yourself trying to get it over to them, and you have to be confident and let them know what your plans are and how you want to play the game.
Yeah.
And when you look at the players who were there, McCoy, McBride, Ferguson, I was a great believer you played a player's strengths.
Yeah.
That was the front three. So always played 4-3-3. And they done the business. I mean, you didn't tell Steve McBride stay out in the right or McCoy to stay on the left. You know, they played their own game. They just change every so often.
Yeah.
Everybody would have told you it was a scary front three.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff Ferris was there as well at that time. But we won the Irish Cup, Johnny, which a lot of people didn't know that without.
So that was your first year?
The first year.
Winning the Irish Cup in your first year is a massive feat, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But we've done it without McBride and Ferguson,
Okay.
who both got injured. Macker's got a cruciate injury and Spike had a knee injury.
Okay.
So we got through the rounds and played Ballymena in the semi-final injury. McCoy scored a wonder goal that night, and great attacking player, Raymond McCoy, and great attitude and great player to work with. But it was difficult at the start because Terry Nicholson was hurt at getting moved out, and understandably so.
Yeah.
Terry was persuading players to leave and stuff like that, and
Apologies.
and 4 of them went on the list, or wanted to go on the list.
Yeah.
You know, and I persuaded them to stay. So it was a bit difficult time to come in.
Yeah.
And but that season, and we played Glentoran in the quarter-finals at the Oval, nil each, and young lad Stephen Campbell got injured. But I had watched the player playing for the youth team, Jared McMahon,
Okay.
wide right player. So he played for the youth team and then he played for the reserves. So 3 weeks later, this was, we played at the Oval. Replay was at Mourneview, 3-0 each at the Oval, and I decided to bring Jared McMahon into the team.
Straight into the team?
Straight into the team.
Okay.
And the chairman came to me and I asked, why are you playing McMahon? He said, Adrian, I think he's a chance. He's pacey, and I don't think he'll let us down. Anyway, great game. 6 weeks later, he was transferred to Spurs for 150,000.
Right.
So I got that one right.
Right, okay, you did, absolutely.
So he played in the final. Jared played in the final and scored a goal from a free kick. Deflected free kick, but he scored a goal.
Yeah, yeah.
And Spurs come over in August and played as a pre-season friendly. All included in the
that
deal.
part of his deal, yeah.
So they got 150,000.
Brilliant.
So that was a feather in my cap. And then the next year, I got a couple of new players in. Nigel Quigley from Coleraine, and a guy, Ollie Mocklin, who's probably one of the best players I've ever signed.
Okay.
He was captain of Leicester City. Scots lad. He came down from Motherwell to Leicester with Gary McAllister. But anyway, he'd left and went to Hearts. So I contacted Hearts and I said to him, I need a good midfield player. And he said, I have the guy for you, Ollie Mocklin. Ball winner, fiery character, match or just a real winner. So I got Ollie in the midfield and I signed Lee Docherty from infield. And that year, I remember saying to the players, if you win your home games, you'll win the league.
Yeah.
So we lost one home game. Cliftonville beat us 1-0. And we took it to the final game. We had to beat Portadown to win the league. Linfield were playing Glentoran at the Oval. At Windsor that day, sorry. We went 2-0 up. Should have went 3-0 up. And the league was won. Portadown come back and drew 2 each. Linfield beat Glentoran that day and we lost the league in the final game. Packed house in Mourneview that day.
Oh, God, right.
But that was deflating. It was hard to take. And we should have, I watched the replay of the game a while back and we should have been 3 or 4 up at half time, you know. But it just wasn't to be.
Yeah.
And that was hard to take. And took me a while to grow with that. And not so much felt we should have won it. I thought we should deserve to win it on our quality of play.
Yeah.
You know, and as you say, man management, I had a guy, Peter Watson, who was my assistant. Lovely guy, Peter. And Peter knew the game inside out. Played at Distillery and Glentoran and a few Northern Ireland caps. And he done a lot of coaching and I just done what I needed to do, talking and
putting the arm around people who needed it. And,
yeah.
And did you find that was easier for you? That was your niche, was it?
Do you know what, Johnny? In those days, I got to know a sports psychologist guy, and I said, would you come in and listen to some of our team talks? So he came in and we had some good players, some rockets too.
Yeah,
so
well, they're everywhere.
We had a guy, Tony Scapatici. God rest him, he's dead and gone. I left back.
Okay, great name.
Quality player.
Okay.
not big, but a winner. Go through you, just a winner. But Tony liked the social end of life, and he forgot when a Friday night was that you'd on a Saturday. So,
okay.
this is a true story, by the way. Peter Watson always brought him over from Banbridge, and we always wore suits at every match then. Peter came in to me, he says, "You're not going to have Tony today." He says, What's wrong? He says, "He's got the flu." Really? Sent him in, so he came in, he sat down. I says, "What's up with you?" He says, "Can't play, boss. I'm down. I've got the flu." I says, "The flu?" He says, "Scabby, we're playing at Len's. I need you today." So I sent the kit guy, Jackie Murray, over to the social club. I says, "Get me 2 hot whiskies." And I said, "Don't let anybody see them." So he came over the tray and a towel over it. He sat them down. Tony says, "What's those?" I says, "There's hot whiskey there and a hot whiskey. One for you, one for me. That'll do the world of good if you've got the flu." So he looked at it and he looked at it and he talked. And I said, "Look, we're playing at Len's." He says, "You're my left back today and we need this result." This was the year we nearly won the league. So he stood up and he smelled it and he drank it. And he says, "So you're not drinking yours?" I says, "Well, if you want it, you drink it." And he stood up and he hit me in the shoulder. He says, "I'm all right." And he went out, Johnny, and played the shirt of his back. And I says, "Tell you, Scap, you all right now? I'll be all right when I get beer, when I get a pint." That was his problem, but
Yeah.
that was him. Lovely guy. What do I call him? A likeable rogue,
Yeah,
and
I get you.
he's a winner for you,
Yeah.
that type. But
When you think about man
Characters.
management, and I'm not trying to say to anybody who's listening to this that you should do these things, but sometimes you have to go off the beaten path. Do you know what I mean? And that sort of story, fantastic. You understood probably what he needed at that
you
time.
have to weigh people up.
Yes.
As somebody said to me, Alan, you see walking up as a player, you as a manager, see every player walking through that door, you don't know what he's gone through,
Yeah.
his home life, or what he's gone through at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He's probably hiding something.
Mm-hmm.
But this psychologist guy came in and he was so good. And he said to me at half-time team talk, Stephen McBride, Stephen, lovely guy, still friendly with him, but Stephen had an ego about himself, which he's a cocky boy,
Yeah.
confident, loved it. But if you come in and told Stephen off in front of people, he didn't like that.
Yeah.
You need to go to Stephen and tell him how good he is. I need you.
Fuel it near enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Michael McKeown, another rocket, he came in with dirty boots in his bag and he wouldn't get changed. He'd put everything on but his boots. And I'd walk in and out and he'd look and watch me, and he couldn't get his boots cleaned quick enough because he didn't want me to see the dirty boots.
Yeah.
He'd be fine. I says, "Michael, get your boots out of your bag." Just threw them out. They were stinking, and things like that. But if you'd have told Michael off at half time about his way he's playing, he'd have said, "I'm going to show him," to himself.
Yes, that resilience to prove you wrong near enough. Yeah.
So you've all
different characters, don't you?
as a manager, you do, and
Yeah.
you have their problems too.
Mm-hmm.
They come in some nights and burst out what they're going through or what they don't.
You're pretty much a support network, aren't you?
I think so.
Yeah. And it's kind of gone now, isn't it? Where people are kind of, I'm the manager. And that's sort of the other side, the emotional side of things. I think that there's very few people in today's day and age who'll be able to actually be able to do that. Do you know?
I would always been a player's man as a manager. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe that was wrong. Maybe that's why I wasn't as successful as I should have been.
Well, you were still quite successful.
Well, maybe should have been more ruthless.
Okay.
I don't know.
But then again, would that have went away from your character?
Probably not. I mean, I like going out with the players after a game and sitting and having a beer with them. I didn't isolate myself,
Yeah.
and that was me.
Yeah.
So why should it change?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
You know?
So if you were to go the opposite way and not do those things,
Yeah.
you might not be able to create the bond with the players that you did, and then
Probably.
people might not perform for you.
Probably, yeah.
It's a hard one, isn't it? But then again, the joys of being a manager.
You never know. You'll never know. And then, of course, I ended up going to Ballymena. Then Avon sacked me. I just signed a new 2-year contract. And September had won Manager of the Month, and October we dipped, and they sacked me in November.
Quite
And-
strange considering.
Well, I told them I wasn't happy. I said, I said, I'll win the league for you this year, and I knew I thought I would have. But, what do? They call the shots. And the thing about Glenavon, especially at that time, that school teachers, solicitors, no ex-football players, or no guys who ever played a ball or played a game of football.
Do you mean sitting upstairs as a board?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're telling you your time's up. They don't think of maybe what's ahead or what he could do. And Nigel Best came in and Nigel started to break the team up a bit and went to a 4-4-2. Played Raymond McCoy wide left of 4, which wasn't Raymond's game. Raymond's an out-and-out attacker. But that's the way Nigel wanted to play. He was an AFA coach, so that was the system, was the whole thing then at 4-4-2. But I great believer and still said, Johnny, play to player's strengths.
Yeah.
Don't put a player at right back if he can't kick with his right foot.
Yeah.
Don't, it's not going to be comfortable.
No, definitely not. And one of the things I have to speak to you about just before we move on to after your time at Ballymena, or after your time at Glenavon, is that you actually had Spike Ferguson.
Yeah.
What age would Spike have been at this stage?
Spike would have been 26, 27.
So still in his prime, pretty much.
Yeah.
What was it like managing probably one of the best centre forwards to come through the Irish League?
Actually, Spike's just exceptional. His work rate, and he knew when to get into the box. Any time I worked with strikers after that, Glenavon used to tell him, attack when you would know, attack the near post.
Yeah.
You keep attacking the near post, you score goals.
Yeah. And
Spike had that natural ability to do that. You didn't have to tell him where to be. A bit surprised he didn't make it across the water, It
doesn't make sense how he never actually went. Maybe he probably had plenty of opportunities, maybe just didn't want to. But
during that league campaign, he scored 4 hat-tricks in a row. Irish League football, 4 hat-tricks in a row. And, of course, he got the supply. I mean, McCoy and McBride were
putting the balls on
to him. And
you know what's coming.
Throughout the team. But his work rate was exceptional.
Yeah. He's so physically strong too, the way he held people off and the way he held the ball up.
Oh, yeah. And then he took off when he went to Linfield, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, David Jeffrey would say that was his creme de la creme.
Yeah, absolutely.
Won him all the trophies.
Yeah.
Spike Ferguson. I mean, Glenavon were never going to hold on to him because he knew he wanted to win trophies, and you can't blame him for that. And but you know what? The day that gone back to that Portadown game, I had 3 or 4 players sitting in the stand who were either injured or suspended.
Yeah.
And Spike never got a gallop up that day. He just didn't take off in that particular one game when you needed him.
Where you wanted him
to. He just said he was so nervous.
Yeah.
He lost all his energy.
So close to winning the league, he's probably...
I remember him telling me that. He said he's so nervous. And but what a player and what a great fella. Lovely guy, and it's a real pleasure to manage a like at Alan Fraser.
Well, I was about to say, their last question was, what was he like as a person?
Lovely guy.
Yeah.
Couldn't, straight down the middle, didn't hold any punches when he needed to say his part. But what a professional guy to have on your team. And I still speak to Glenn at Linfield. I'm a club ambassador there, and I'm still be about, and Glenn's doing a great job with the academy.
Yeah,
great job.
Fantastic, yeah. He's in there with Michael now. I've been in a few times. And they're at that B-Tech sort of level, and they're always in there, and he's a funny man, like he's a really good guy to come across. So hopefully he'll be sitting in your seat someday, and we'll get that conversation out of him. Spike, hopefully.
We'll
have to.
It'd be nice to have.
We'll have to knock on the shoulder. But
yeah,
after Glenavon, Ballymena. Talk to me about that.
Well, I must say one thing: I'd never have to apply for a job in my life as a manager.
Must be nice.
Job. So everybody approached me, so I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing. And
well, obviously they've seen your record there. You won the Irish Cup and you nearly won the league, so they're probably going, he's the man who's...
George McGill was the physio at Ballymena at that time, and George and I would have been friendly. So he gave me a call one night, would you be interested in managing Ballymena? Well, I'd been out of the game probably about 6 or 8 months.
Okay.
So it was the start of the season coming in, and of course I was getting itchy feet, and I did make the decision to go and talk to Ballymena, and they offered me the job, and that was about 96, 97, I think. Difficult time going in there because it 1 or 2 players were on big money, and the guy Danny Craney was there, a Scotch guy, and he didn't train with Ballymena. He trained with Celtic most of the time, but he didn't come over. He flew in for games, so I come in for pre-season, and I contacted him. I says, Don sent him a letter, actually, Don Sterling, to tell him to come for training pre-season. He just rang me to say he doesn't do pre-season with the club, he does it with Celtic. I just said, well, times have changed, so you'll be doing it here and reporting Monday, whatever date, or you'll be fined. So, but he was due something like $5,000. That was in 87.
Yeah.
He was getting 10 grand that year. So he knew he was due £5,000. So fair play to him. He got the flight over and put himself up in digs.
Turned up.
Done the pre-season.
As you should.
As he should.
Yeah.
And then he asked me, could I go home to get some clothes? Well, I said, if you go home, you'll be fine because you're missing training. So anyway.
Talk about being ruthless.
It was time to go for him. The club weren't getting the value out of him.
Yes, I get that.
Johnny, that he should have been doing. And I felt he was getting his arm into the club, and a few other board members thought that. Yeah. But Ballymena at that time, they changed the league format and we went down. And Oma were in that league at that time. They were a forceful team, and they won the league the first year and then went up. And then Ballymena, we won it the next year and went straight up. And I built a great squad together, and we started off really well. And I played a formation of 4-5-1.
Okay.
Barry Patton up on his own, and a guy signed from Linfield, Philip Nell. Great footballer, great brain, knew football, knew where to pass, when to go, whatever. And we started off the league really well. Won our first 6 games. And it's funny, I was sitting in the office one night and I come in, and Norman and Bernie, the chairman, and David Blair, the board member, were sitting in my chair in the office, and he says, oh, trouble here. But with 1 or 6 games, top of the league, playing that formation, everybody said, don't change that, teams can't cope with it, which is a difficult to play against if you only playing one striker right up.
Yeah.
Defences don't know where to push on.
Especially at that stage, they probably haven't seen it that much.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Anyway, done well, but come into the office and Norman said to me, would you sign Glenn Hunter, who was at Crusaders then, and a good striker. And Crusaders had run into money problems, I think, at that stage, and they needed money coming in. And Norman had been in an IFA meeting and got talking to the chairman of Cliftonville, or Crusaders, sorry. So I spoke to Eric. Boy Eric had worked with Glenn at Linfield, and he said, you know what, he'd score goals. So anyway, I said to Norman, give me time. He says, no, but I need to know. I think the deal was already done, and I didn't know anything about it, but I says, okay, we'll go for it. 20,000, I think they paid.
Okay. Fuck.
So I remember going to the game, and Ian Russell used to do BBC commentary and stuff. He came to me before the match. He says, don't you be changing your formation because teams can't cope with it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know where Hunter's going to go, but he says, Ian, I don't know where he's going to go either. When you keep winning, why change the team? So we did eventually get an injury, and I brought Glenn in and had to change to 4-4-2 because Glenn couldn't play anywhere else.
Yeah.
I think we drew. No, what happened was I'd having them at the bench next week, and Norman come to me and said, why are you not playing Glenn Hunter? I says, because we're winning, Norman, with this formation. I can't put him in the team yet. Norman got a bit uptight about it all. Anyway, I brought Glenn in at certain stages, and we started to dip through a game, lost a game, and formation went up the left a bit. And I says to Eric, I don't know what I'm going to do here, but anyway, I kept Glenn in the team, and I think somebody had got injured anyway, Johnny had to change it. But we started going downhill, but we finished further down that year, and last game of the season I played a lot of young lads, and we lost 6-3 last match to the Lions. Norman had been in Spain, got a phone call to say who lost, who won, sack him, that was it. So we got to sack. That was after about 4 years.
See, whenever you look at that situation that you've been put in there with Glenn, Does it annoy you looking back on it now that you didn't stick to your principles and just be headstrong and say, like, I'm sticking to this 4-5-1, and if he doesn't play, he can sit there?
Mm.
Does that eat you up a wee bit?
Tough call to make, Johnny, you know. And
It is.
you can't turn around a player that does score goals. McLean had a different type of striker about himself. He first touch wasn't great, but he knew where the net was. When a ball came in, he got it in the net.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Patton, different kettle of fish, quality player, lazy type player. What ability he had, and he could lead the line well.
Mm-hmm.
Glenn couldn't have done that as a one-man up.
Yeah.
His first touch wasn't good.
You're looking for somebody to occupy a back four there, aren't you? Like?
Yeah, Barry could do it to a T, and Philip Nell could do it in behind. But anyway, it changed, and in hindsight, maybe I should have said I don't want him.
Yeah.
Maybe I got the sack anyway. If it didn't take him, I don't know. But Norman was saying the guy Mark McWalter. He'd been a Coleraine. He's a Broth guy. Been a Coleraine, good centre forward. So we signed him the year before, and Norman got him a car and all. I mean, Norman McBurney was so generous. Yeah, really good guy.
No, fantastic.
I'm not here to knock Norman McBurney in any one way.
No, absolutely not.
I wouldn't want to do that. But Norman's not a football man. If Norman buys a Mercedes lorry for his business, he knows what he's getting out of a brand new Mercedes lorry. But we signed Mark McWalter, and he'd done his hamstring pre-season. And I'm saying, of all players, Mark McWalter paid decent money to Coleraine on a good wage. He's done his hamstring of all things pre-season. Said to George, what about Mark? He's going to be out for 4 weeks, Alan. So, had to explain to Norman he's done his hamstring, and Norman wouldn't really know what a hamstring is, but trying to explain that to him, he kept saying, where's Mark? He says he's injured, but we need him to start it. He should be all right. So I says, George, every week, how's Mark? He's doing all right. Is he getting there? I says, he's getting there. So it was about a week from getting fit. So unfortunately, Mark got a call to say his brother had passed away in Scotland.
Okay.
So naturally enough,
you have to go.
Said, you can't have to go to Scotland. My brother passed away. It's no problem, Mark. Take all the time you need. What else do you say, Johnny? And of course, Norman found out, and he says, what's he way back to Scotland for? I says, his brother's passed away suddenly. And I says, what can I do, Norman? Well, is he coming back this week? I says, look, I don't honestly know. I just can't tell him to come straight back, Norman. Like, I found it hard to say, Mark, I'm not going to say when he back, but anyway, about 2 or 3 days after he'd been to Scotland, Mark's father rang me. I got a call, Mark McWalter, or something, Mark's father. I said, Mr. McWalter, how are you? Sorry about your son. He says, no, appreciate that. Mark's had a bit of an accident. I says, oh, is it serious? Well, he's fell and fractured his skull. And the first thing I didn't think about Mark, I just thought about Norman. What am I going to tell Norman? It's not terrible.
He's not going to believe me here.
I know.
I get you, yeah.
Well, anyway, it turned out it wasn't as bad as a fractured skull, but it was thought to be bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, I says, how am I going to tell Norman? So I had to go and tell Norman, we're not going to have Mark for 3 or 4 months. What's wrong with him? I says, he's fell, hit his head, and we don't know how serious it is, but it is serious. Well, that was another thing, I mean, and Norman couldn't accept all this.
Yeah.
But that was hard work.
Yeah.
Managing under Norman. And some good times, some tough times, but my reign at Ballymena didn't really last, and with some good results.
Yeah.
Well,
you've tied in some names there that I would remember. My first stage at Ballymena, Don Sterling was still there. Mm-hmm. John Taggart was still there as well. How did you find them working under those two?
Don was a great guy.
Yeah.
Really easy-going guy to work with.
Amazing,
as a secretary. And I know at a time, I just arrived, and I had a guy, Stephen, that signed before I came. And I forget his surname, sorry, Johnny. But anyway, I had him in the team sheet. And Don's so quiet. he called me and said, Alan, Stephen so-and-so, do you know if you play him today, he's due £500? I says, Don, what do you want me to do? He's in the team sheet. Well, I don't think he'll be staying too long. I think he'll be going. You haven't seen him playing? I says, well, not in my time, but nobody told me if he play him today, he gets £500.
Yeah.
You know, I says, nothing to do with me, Don. So I just says, he's in the team.
Yeah.
So it sorted out after that.
Did you play him?
Played him, aye.
Were you thinking from the player's perspective there, I'll get your 500 quid?
It's not horrible. Like, coming in and says he can't.
He's about to get his bonus.
Doesn't matter about winning the match, you know.
Yeah.
You can't play him.
Just don't put him in.
And he's a lovely wee guy. And I wasn't going to take him out of the team.
No.
It wasn't my problem. Nobody told me before the match.
Well, you didn't sign that contract for him, do you know what I mean?
No.
Or agree to it. So.
Those silly things you'd say, I don't
Yeah.
believe this, you know. And sometimes at Ballymena it was tough going. And then some nights I live in Lisburn, you're driving the whole way down through the fog, you know. What I need this for, working all day and driving down here, and you get to Ballymena. There's 2 local players in the dressing room, and the rest of them are ringing up. I can't make it. It's foggy.
Yeah.
Since I drove from Lisburn and I made it. Wee silly things, you know.
100%.
But good fun, great blokes. Some useful players and some lazy players and some players and Liverpool players.
Yeah.
But you work with them and try to encourage them and try and get the best out of them. But I had a great squad. I'd signed John McConnell, Jason Allen from Linfield, 2 centre backs, and Ian Bustard. Wee Desi was on the wing, Desi Lockray.
Yeah.
Great wee lad.
What was he like for you?
Good player.
Well, Desi got a car.
Did he?
So we had Desi on. Desi's conversation with me was it's fantastic. Funny man.
Yeah, it's a good lad, I think.
Desi tells a story that he had a wee. I think he had I couldn't tell you any of it. So I can't even remember. But he says that Norman got him a wee car, and he kept him because he was obviously getting the trains up and down from Coleraine or whatever.
Yeah.
He says he'll never forget it. He's like, I needed it, and Norman put his neck out for me, and he got me a wee 2-door car, and it had the kids and everything in it. And, but he had a good career.
Did well.
Did he do well for you?
Yeah, he did.
Because Ballymena fans love him now.
Desi and Patton travelled together. Barry Patton. Barry was a strange guy. Came and played at Dunnip training. Couldn't wait to get home. Lived up near Donegal, I think. Kenny, somewhere. I don't know. But after every game, you know, Desi and Barry disappeared off the pitch and the guys were coming in and sitting in the dressing room. And Desi and Patton were standing in their suits ready to go. Where's the wages?
Couldn't wait to get out. We couldn't wait to get out.
Wages, you know, and I'm saying, hold on here, guys.
Yeah.
You're not staying for a wee bit of crack or anything. No, I have to get up the road, you know. And that was just them. It wasn't that. It didn't mean to be sociable or team spirit. Desi was a funny wee guy, and I still see him at the games and shout at him.
He's
you know.
brilliant.
And what a great player and service he gave to Ballymena. So he did, and
he's had a hard run of it too, you know. But
yeah.
He's unbelievable what he does pitch side too.
Brilliant.
Some of the photos and the photography that he puts out there.
Yeah, he's been through a tough time there recently, I think. And
he has
told me that.
But he seems to have come out the other side.
Yeah.
Which is positive.
Yeah.
Now, when we think about finishing off at Ballymena, did you go back in after?
I went to Loughgall for a while, Johnny. I don't know why I end up in these places. Somebody guy, I have a caravan down the coast, and this guy was kept man at Loughgall, and he says, do you fancy coming down to Loughgall? And I said, aye, okay. So went down there, lovely wee club, and did like it, and they were in the B division then. Didn't stay long, and then Bangor came in after me. A guy called Jim McGrory was the chairman, and he took me to Bangor. And I brought Eric with me, Eric Boyer, and George Dunlop come in, took the reserves, but done well at Bangor. Got them the County Antrim Shield final and played Glentoran, and Niall Curry was our goalkeeper.
Okay.
Niall had got injured just before the final.
Yeah.
And he had got us to the final, really. He's a good goalkeeper. And
I've heard, yeah.
Great attitude. Wanted to be a winner, you know, and good goalkeeper.
Was he the same colour then?
No.
No.
But he knew he was a good goalkeeper.
He did,
So
yes.
he used to tell you how good he was, as usual, you know. But anyway, got to the final and Niall was injured, so young gang goals. We lost the final at Glentoran. I still think if Niall had been in, he'd have won us a game.
Yeah.
But anyway, wasn't to be. And I stayed there a while, and then Jim McGrory was the chairman. Jim was difficult to work with. He liked putting money into the club and getting players in. One night he arrived with 3 players from Dublin in the car. I knew nothing about it. And I was just, what's happening here? He said, I have 3 players for you. You know, things like that.
Yeah. Where did they come from? Who are they? And
don't know anything about
do you
them.
really actually need
You know,
them? Type thing.
why are you bringing these guys to me? And he knew of them and knew one. Anyway, so things like that, and the results started to dip. I just said, it's time for me to get out of here, you know.
Yeah.
Wasn't the way I wanted the club to be run, and
Mm-hmm.
wasn't for me. Not that I wanted to be smart about it, but when you know the club hasn't been run right, I never think you can win anything at it.
Yeah.
Johnny, maybe I'm wrong.
The professionalism isn't there. Yeah. If you're trying to do it on the pitch and it's not being done off it.
Well, that's what I learned at Linfield. When you leave Linfield, really, in our day, you're only going one way.
Yeah.
When I left Linfield, as I say, went to Glenavon, got the Irish Cup final, and the year before went in the minibus to a cup final. So when we got to the final, I ordered 23 suits and told the chairman that's what I need. My chief scout got a suit, reserve team manager got a suit, youth team manager.
Yeah.
Not that they needed a suit,
No, but
with a great camaraderie going to the game, and they're all involved,
yeah.
which didn't do us any harm. But those are things I think I was used to at Linfield.
Yeah. And you continue that.
When you go to another club, you can see the difference.
Yeah.
And as much as the clubs I went to, tried to be professional as I can, there was always something missing. You know, if you'd asked for something, they'd say, oh, we don't do that here, you know.
Not yet.
Why do you not do that here?
Yeah.
You know, with Ballymena signing, the players have signed this year, I think Owen has got to make sure it's as professional as he can make it.
Yeah.
Because those Linfield players will see a difference.
No, absolutely, yeah.
You know.
And they're going from a full-time setup, the majority of them, to what's going to
part-time?
be 2 days a week, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has a big job in his hands, Oren.
Tough job.
Especially after the finish last season.
Yeah.
If you think about anybody else in that position, and this isn't to try and get at Oren, but Paddy McLaughlin had less games and was sacked.
Yeah.
Jim Irvin had less games, more successful at the time.
Yeah.
Most people probably would have got the bullet there, so he has a lot to prove.
But I go back to Roy Coyle. Roy Coyle was almost out the door, and he won last game. He won it, and that was the end of the season. And he was on to be one of the most successful managers Linfield ever had. So one game can just turn it.
Yeah.
As keeping your job and losing your job. It's like that last league game at Glenavon. I'd probably got a contract as long as I wanted if I'd have won the league.
Yeah, true.
You know, and wasn't to be. You know.
Well, one of the good things with Thorne this year is he's been able to build his own squad near enough. He's signed the players that he's wanted. He's been able to put in the situations where he's had a full pre-season. Yeah. And I would expect them to do relatively well this year.
Well, the other side of it too, Johnny, bringing so many new players in, does it all take off right away, or does it take 6 months?
Takes a wee bit jail, doesn't it?
Does it take 6 months before you see the best?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's a tough game, the first game for both teams.
100%.
Linfield and Ballymena.
Do you think that it'll be a better league this year compared to last?
Well, you can always see that, as I said in a recent paper reported on it, you can see the gap opening up of the top 4 of Coleraine, Larne, Glentoran and Linfield. And I can't see that maybe wavering too much this year. Whether Ballymena can slot in there, who else, I don't know. Glentoran, Linfield could be dropping out of it.
Yeah.
But Oran's a good squad with him.
He's a
Don't doubt
fantastic
about it.
squad now.
And the goalkeeper Walsh is a great goalkeeper. I thought
he's made fantastic signings.
Yeah.
Shane McElhinney is a brilliant signing. He'll come back. He'll be fully fit. Chris McKee has a point to prove this year.
Yeah.
I reckon he'll do extremely well.
Yeah.
And Charlie Allen, I think, has always been a fantastic right-sided midfielder.
And if you've Ben Kennedy coming back in, if he's fit,
back in too, yeah.
Bit of a rocket Ben, but
a bit.
What a player, like, I mean.
Yes. Technically one of the best players
And
in the league, yeah.
I think there's only one place you can play him as a number 10 and behind the striker.
It is.
You know, I mean, at times they're pushing Ben right up front in his own. That was never his game.
No.
Last season.
And that's where we got the second year going into...
Did you play with him?
I played with him a few times now, so we played together, Crusaders. And then the second year at Ballymena, we went, I think it was 10 or 11 games unbeaten. And I think we were sitting top, maybe second. And Ben played in behind me. And he just finished everything off. Yeah, that's my thing, was I knew that he was going to score, so don't overcomplicate it. In ways, you get the ball, you give it to him in space, and the kid's electric. You know, just let him go and do his thing. But a few injuries happened. The two of us ended up out at the same time, and you could kind of see that the wheels were going to come off at some stage. You were riding your luck, and you were getting penalties, and you were getting by. So, but I mean, fantastic on his day. Absolutely tremendous.
Goes back to what I'm saying, man management. I think you need to know how to manage Ben.
Yes.
He's a lovely kid, but if you rub him up the wrong way or he gets on the wrong side of it, I think it's...
Head staggers near enough. Yeah.
Going out on a Saturday, he needs to be tuned in for you and wanting to play for you.
He just needs his big mate there with the arm around him, and I'll look after him, you know.
Yeah, that's it, Johnny.
You just need someone, don't you?
Get the boots back on.
You just need someone.
Go again.
One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about just at the end is, whenever you've transitioned out of this, did you start to fall out of love with the game as a manager?
Well, you know, times change. Everything changes. You have to have your licence. You have to have a UEFA licence. Whatever licence you need to manage at any level now. I didn't go for all that.
Okay.
You know, maybe I should have. And if I wanted to go back to manage, I could.
Yeah.
But I didn't go through all that. And now the game has changed so much. It's a young man's game, Johnny, and I don't need to be back in it. But probably at times you get itchy feet watching a game, what you would change or how you could change it to improve the actual team. And
you would still be around games quite frequently. You're doing wee bits at Linfield.
Yeah. Club ambassador at Linfield and enjoying it. We do different things. We go to different funerals who ex-players and stuff like that and try and support the club as much as we can. Enjoying it. And we're actually going on Saturday to an ex-player, Ken Barkley, played with us in the late 70s. Okay. Ken passed away during COVID.
Okay.
So we're doing a grave tribute for him on Saturday with a little plaque, and we're going down to have a wee service at his grave because we couldn't go to his funeral during COVID. I know it's 6 years ago, but we just decided, a few of us, to do this, and we're going down there on Saturday to do this.
One of the big things that we spoke about recently, and you're now the charitable partner for NIFL. You're massively involved with a couple of close friends and ex-players of yours in the fight against dementia. Talk to me about that. How did it get started? What was your reason for getting involved?
Well, as I say, we go back to Coleraine whenever they had a function a couple of years ago for winning their Irish Cup. They invited a few ex-Linfield players up who played in the game. And it was a lovely lunch. And Frankie Moffat, Colin McCurdy, myself, Eric Boyer were there. And the conversation come up about different players who were in that particular team who are no longer with us through dementia. Ivan Murray, who is a captain and ex-manager of Coleraine, has sadly got dementia. And the numbers that come up that we knew throughout the league and players that we played with, it'd be 3 or 4 of them now. I mean, it's just so sad that it's a cruel disease, and guys you played with don't even remember playing the game of football. And a lot of it's down to the heading of the ball in those days, and in our day, a heavy ball, and training nights we would have spent half an hour heading balls.
Yeah.
And we feel it's been proven to play a big part in the demise of players with dementia. So we got together, and the spirit of 1974, Coleraine Supporters Club were there that day, and they wanted to donate £1,000. At this stage, we hadn't thought of starting a charity, but we wanted to do something to help. And it got stronger and bigger, and we decided, could we run a launch to raise awareness of the dementia within football.
Yeah.
And we run it at the National Stadium. Jim Lemon and myself started get things going, and we got 15 tables, £500 a table, and we got different things that we could sign and auctioned, and
Brilliant.
clubs were very good and people were very good. Carrick Rangers took 2 tables.
Brilliant.
But anyway, that raised it, and we raised in around 11,500, 12,000, and we were able to open our bank account, and now we're in the process of getting recognised as our charity.
Yeah.
And it's raising awareness at the minute, Johnny, of players who have had dementia. That particular day, we had a screen going across with every player who had recently passed away with dementia, ex-players, and probably some of them put in my ear and some before it.
Yeah.
But it's getting stronger, and now NIFL have taken us on board for the next 2 years, and which we're very much appreciative of, and we're slowly getting there, but we need to just get around the clubs to raise the awareness of what we want out of it.
Yeah.
And so that the players themselves know what can happen. I mean, not enough, as I said to people, if I was signing for Linfield as a 17-year-old when I did, professional, if somebody had said to me, you could take dementia out of this when you're 60, 70, I probably would have still signed the form.
Yeah, wouldn't have stopped you, yeah.
Wouldn't have stopped it. But I think it has to be somewhere along the line that however we can help a family, not just at this moment in time, but we're doing different things. That what does a family need most? What's the best thing can help a family? Is respite.
Aftercare, yeah.
Respite for a week is amazing. That's the feedback we're getting.
Yeah.
So we can set up something that we can help. It's going to be difficult who to decide to help or where we go that way, but PFA are getting involved with us as well. But it's going to be a long journey.
Absolutely.
But it's something.
But
Johnny,
it's a worthwhile journey.
We want to do our best to get it going, and
Yeah.
we've some good people on our committee, and we're getting more people on with professional advice and professional help in that line. So we don't expect to do it all ourselves. We're not qualified. I'm not qualified to speak about dementia. No. Certainly I have friends who have dementia. Our past captain, Peter Rafferty, who's home at he was living in Spain for 15 years, and he's been diagnosed. And Peter probably wouldn't remember he played for Linfield at this moment in time. So sad. And
it is.
But that's basically how far we are at the minute, Johnny, and we're working hard. We have a committee meeting every month, and we bring up different scenarios, what we need to do next, and
different steps in the process.
Yeah. So there's a girl at Theatre in the Mill that's doing a big event on the 25th of July.
Okay.
It's a chat show with Tim McGarry.
Okay.
And you have Jim Cleary, big Coleraine, or Crusaders player Jordan Owens coming along.
Brilliant.
And
Big Jordan's brilliant.
David Jeffrey's coming. So we're doing a question and answer. Jim Cleary also.
Brilliant.
So they have a good crowd going to that, and the funds are coming to players against dementia. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, listen, if there's anything that we can do, we will be more than happy to try and publicise and help in any way we can, because, as I said, I think it's a very worthwhile charitable thing that you're doing. Setting that up, going out of your way. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort to start these things, and the process can be very, very lengthy, as I very much know myself. So congratulations on it.
Yeah.
Fair play to you for sticking it out. You and the boys, it's massive, and as I said, there's probably no worse disease. I know people can get cancer and stuff, but for family members watching their own flesh and blood deteriorate and not remember who they are, it's criminal. It's
and what
horrible.
about your own charity? Was it walk?
So Man On.
Man On.
So Man On is ours, yes. So we currently try and combat the idea of mental health.
Yeah.
We're very focused on trying to support players and clubs and communities around the stresses of life and how we can help, whether that's through 24/7 guidance or helplines, drug and addiction, alcoholism, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So with being a part of that, we can give you access to those people for free and obviously get you the help that you need and kind of look after you. It's all anonymous. We don't personally know. Again, just like yourselves, we're not fully qualified to be able to sit and have those conversations, but we've been able to make the right connections with people who do.
Yeah.
And we sort of signpost you to them, and we look after you and take you into the programme, have a bit of crack and get around football. And we use football, as we all know, it's the best sport in the world, and you get so much from it. And it's, as you say, even throughout the Troubles, it was keeping communities together, and even now through mental health and illnesses, still seems to be doing the same thing. So
well, that's good you're doing that. But as I said to the manager, and it still sticks with me, when a young lad or player walks through that door, I don't know
what's happening,
what's up here.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes a manager has to remember that.
Yeah.
And that sticks with me, and I still think of young players and any player of what's going on at home or elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, we've seen it too, and we see it with so many fans. We think about the people who support the club and put their money into it, and they come and watch people every week, and some of the stuff that goes on outside the club in the communities is horrendous. Do you know what I mean? And these people aren't getting any help, and they don't have any guidance. And if we can do something to help someone, that's the idea. As long as you help one, but we seem to be doing a lot more than what we initially thought. And the process is long, it's lengthy, but it's worthwhile. So the idea to make it as big as possible is right up there on our agenda, and fingers crossed it gets there.
Yeah. Well, we've been getting the support, and we're very thankful for all the support we're getting, and it's amazing. I went to book a room. We found it difficult getting somewhere to hold our meetings, and I knew the receptionist in Europa, and I went in and asked her, could we possibly get something? And she just blurted out her mother passed away with dementia, and she praised what we're doing and supported us, and anything we want, she would help us out in any way. So things like that are...
Just shows you how many people you don't know who are suffering, who might need that help, and they'll maybe signpost somebody else to you at some stage, and it'll come full circle. And again, I think what you're doing is admirable. It's massive, and it's one of the things that I fear in life is you don't want to forget anyone. So it's one of the worst illnesses you can possibly get. But again, congratulations. So if anybody is listening to this, if they can help, if you have any events coming up, I know you mentioned Tim McGarry, let me know. We'll like to put it out. We'll like to try and help and publicise it. And I know the community here like to go to the live shows and be a part of those things. So fingers crossed that they'll buy tickets and all buy into it and try and help a fantastic cause.
Thank you, Johnny.
But we finish on hugs. So up you get.
Okay.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
You too.
Thank you for taking your time to come.
Hope it comes through all right.
It was fantastic. But listen, we'll look after Benny. Thank you very much for coming. It's been an absolute pleasure. And please join us next week on the On the Spot Football Podcast for what will be another fantastic guest. It's been an absolute pleasure to do this evening. See you soon.